What's up, YouTube, and welcome to Codename Scream. I am that horror guy.
And I'm Mel.
And please make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications for all things horror. We are starting September. It is Team Chris versus Team Mel. What do you mean by this? Well, we are letting our patrons over on Patreon decide the content of this entire channel for the entire month. So if you're not on there, join us for only $1 per month, patreon.com/codenamescream. We have selected each 2 movies a week. We will put the polls up on Sundays. They will go down on Tuesdays. Gives you a couple days to vote and gives us a couple days to watch some movies because we don't know what we're going to be watching at the end of the day. But we started this last week to get this week's video. It's a weird one. We ended a series and started a new one
in the same week.
But so we had a Team Mel victory right to start. Were we surprised? No. That's why we did a thank you video. We're recognizing all that is Team Mel.
Yay!
But what was the winning video?
It was Housebound, released at South by Southwest March 10th of 2014. Written and directed by Gerard Johnstone. That's a mouthful, kind of. Gerard Johnstone.
Wow.
Produced by Luke Sharp. Budget and box office are interesting because they are in New Zealand dollars. So if you could please convert them for us.
Yeah. So it was a $350,000 New Zealand budget, which is approximately $245,000 in the US. Mm-hmm. And if you were to adjust to the box office, it's $240,000 in New Zealand dollars.
Yes.
It was only released in New Zealand. Okay.
Which is why it's in New Zealand dollars.
Yeah, that's why it's only in New Zealand dollars. You know, just so we clarify what's going on there. And if we adjusted the inflation for New Zealand dollars, it's $276,767.
Yeah, so
very
that's
precise.
Probably about like 175,000-ish
in the US. We didn't convert that far because we didn't get it. Unfair. But, you know, everyone had to like it, right?
Well, certain people liked it. And
in New Zealand.
Yeah. And that was the critics. Critic score of 95% and an audience score of 25%. So this is the biggest gap had ever.
Period.
That's crazy to me.
Mm-hmm.
But you want to give us a quick, brief rundown of what this is about in the best way you can without spoiling anything?
Yeah, wow. The whole day I've been trying to think of, how am I going to do this? Because this one's a hard one to not be able to slip up on.
Because you could spoil this so easily.
So it's going to get some rundown status. We've got Kylie, a felon, stealing money out of an ATM and gets sent back home to live with Mom. And Mom is going to be with her for the next 8 months while she's reformed and can go back out into society.
And Mom is annoying.
Mom's real annoying. So is Graham. Yeah, that whole family. Like, I understand why Kylie didn't want to be stuck in there for 8 months. And they're discussing how the house is haunted-ish, sort of. Kylie doesn't have any recollection of the house being haunted when she was younger. Whatsoever. Thinks that they're all just kind of losing their mind. And we watch as some true paranormal activities going on, not like that franchise we covered not too long ago. And that's really kind of where I need to leave it, because from here it can derail into a spoiler.
Yes.
And we are spoiler free over here now.
And this has literally the craziest twist, so you don't want to spoil.
Gotta save it.
You have to watch this.
But guess where it's at right now, where you can stream it? Shudder.
You're going to put it right here again.
Here,
right
and here.
And here.
And here.
And here.
Why not?
So this, I actually surprisingly did find some interesting facts about this movie. There's a couple, like, little fun things, but it's mostly in the, like, budget side of things that I didn't know until I looked into this. But so Kylie's psychiatrist Dennis is the same actor who played Farmer Maggot in Lord of the Rings.
I did not notice that.
That was interesting. On the movie's website, the film was described as a high-concept film with a very low budget.
They're not wrong.
And they nailed that.
That's a tagline that should have been on the poster.
Yeah. And the poster was awesome.
The poster was great.
By the way, I love this movie poster. So this is where it gets interesting. So the movie was funded by the New Zealand Film Commission's Escalator Scheme. The escalator scheme was a plan to help independent filmmakers make up their budgets and make a better movie. Out of 250 filmmakers, only 4 were chosen after sending in their film ideas.
Interesting.
So, I want to know what they sent in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if they gave away the whole thing, because
right.
if it just, it almost feels like out of 250 movies, and they were 1 of 4 picked, it seems like they would have to give that away.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise they'd be like, yeah, it's like a movie about ghosts and
ghost
stuff.
movie, you know.
And they would have been like, yeah, next. But, like, this twist was just
too good.
The movie only made about $240,000 in the box office, which means it didn't even break even.
In any dollars.
In any amount, no matter what you convert this to. Pesos, euros, it
fell flat.
Yeah. So, which, I mean, the filmmakers didn't pay for it, so I'm sure they were fine with that. And even though it fell short box office wise, it did get a lot of cool nominations for things. So it was nominated for many awards across the globe. Most notably in its own country, it completely swept New Zealand Film and Television Awards with 11 nominations, including Best Actress, Best Supporting Actress, Best Director, Best Makeup, Best Costume Design, Best Film, Best Visual Effects, Best Production Design, Best Cinematography, Best Sound, and Best Poster Design. But in the end, it only won Best Poster Design, even though it was nominated for
all that.
Yeah, but like I said, that
poster's great, so...
But I feel like people are going to know what I think about this movie since I picked it.
Yeah.
But go ahead. What do you think?
So I had no idea what this was about. I didn't bother looking into it.
Had you even heard of it before?
I remember scrolling past it on Netflix, and it was like, oh, that's a cool poster. I'll come back to that. And then, instead I watched, Dane Cook's Employee of the Month for the 40th time that week, or Shameless for the 10th time. It depended on the day. But it was always like, oh, I'll come back to that.
You only watched that for Jessica Simpson.
Hey. No, I actually really love that movie.
Okay.
But, besides Jessica Simpson. But, so I had no idea what to expect. Didn't even read the, plot, synopsis, nothing. Just went into it completely dark. And I'm really glad he did.
Awesome.
I was not sure what to expect with this film. At the beginning, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like this. It was just such a slow burn to start. Mm-hmm. I was like, yeah, this is kind of a snoozer to start, not going to lie. But at first half hour, it was just like, no. But it picked up. And then that last, hour and 10 minutes of the film, it just got better and better. Yeah. And by the time we got to the twist, which was one of the best twists I've seen in horror in a very long time. One of my favorites now, I will have to go with.
Awesome. Yes.
Yeah. So I am 100% sold on this. I'm just so glad that this one won.
Cool.
It just gave me an opportunity to see something I'd never seen, kind of never really even heard of aside from scrolling. And just, it was great. Absolutely loved it.
I'm so glad you liked it. Yeah, I love this movie. I saw it. It was originally used to be on Netflix. Mm-hmm. It's not anymore. It's on Shudder.
It's on Shudder.
Shudder. But I watched it when it was on Netflix because I just like looking for movies I've never heard of on streaming sites and just finding a cool, cover, movie poster type, whatever, icon thing, and not even reading what it's about and just clicking on it. And this had the movie poster as the icon, and I was like, this looks so cool. So I just played it. This was one of my favorite movies for the longest time because the twist is something I can't believe no one had thought of before.
No.
I mean, to my knowledge, there's never been one like this, and it just seems like such an obvious thing.
Yeah.
That would, I
wanted to call that out so badly, and then you just can't.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, this is so predictable. No.
It seems like it's going to be your standard haunted house, this old spooky house, and there's going to be some It's not anything like you'd... I'm going to say something that's a hint that's going to confuse you. Squirrels in the attic.
Yes.
That's all I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm.
Raccoons in the attic. This just blew me away when I saw it, and probably the best independent horror movie I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, it's up there.
The acting in it is so good. And they're pretty, as far as I know, fairly unknown actors, at least in the U.S., except for Farmer Maggot over there. But yeah, it's just the concept is what got me, and the cinematography is beautiful in this movie.
Yeah.
It's very similar to the same like color palettes you see in a lot of like historical movies, like almost like those the dark gothic,
Yeah.
historical
Like
fiction.
Crimson Peak.
Yeah. Or even like What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah.
You know, like that. It just had that kind of vibe to it, which made everything so much more creepy and made it just feel like a ghost story.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, the whole theme of this film felt very like almost Victorian at times.
Yeah.
But it just added to it. And that's why at first I was like, oh man, this is going to be just another possession film. Like another, haunted house. The house is possessed. The people are possessed. Oh, no.
I like movies that are kind of like slow burn though. And this didn't give you too much of like a delay before it started getting things. Like you said,
It's a half hour.
Like 30 minutes. And some of my favorite movies are kind of like that. Like The Babadook. You know, that is, some people can't even get through the first like hour of that because they're like, this is boring. But then I'm like, it's worth it.
Yeah, some films can do it.
This is one of these movies, like, if you're someone that, like, watches the first 10, 15 minutes of a movie and just gives up if you're not interested in it, like, stick it out for this one because it is so worth it. It almost becomes a different film after that first 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, the vibe completely changes.
Oh, it's a complete 180.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
Yeah.
If you have seen it, let's chat about it in the comments below. Just keep the spoilers out. Do not spoil that twist. Save that for some messages through Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or email. Like we said, we don't know what we're watching this month. We know what's coming up for next week, though. It's going to be a fun week. It's going to be an interesting week. So one more time, just make sure to join us on Patreon for only $1 a month. Patreon.com/codenamescream. Help dictate the content of the channel for the entire month. You'll also get your own bonus content sprinkled in here throughout.
Yes.
We'll get to that. Right now, we're focusing on this part. So congrats on your first win.
I feel like I'm going to have a bunch more soon.
That's a big talk. Well, we'll see. So with that being said, scary you later, YouTube.